breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page lies, it's about to begin. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. There'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells you, friend, Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nation Pride.
All right, everybody, what's up with the fade job? How's everybody doing? This is everybody says they're seeing my truck on the news tonight. I just saw 4 people, right? They saw my truck on the news. Was that on CNN by chance? I don't know. My truck is almost fixed, by the way. I went there today and pulled some stuff out of it. The engine's running good. They're waiting on a couple other pieces. Somebody else just texted me. Huh. ABC had my truck on the news today. Awesome. Hey, so y'all saw my news. My truck. The famous truck. All right, so what's up? This is Mike. Mike's Weather Page. Welcome, everybody. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube and Twitter. We've got a lot of platforms now. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to cover the tropics a little quicker than normal. I just did a big YouTube video. Make sure you subscribe to me over on YouTube. And, oh my God, my truck's all over the news, I guess. Oh my God, it was on ABC News. I am not an official source of information. I always throw that disclaimer out as we get a little bit closer to a storm. I just share my opinions and thoughts and latest models and data. So for official information, highly recommend going to National Weather Service or your National Hurricane Center for official information. If you hear some weird noises in the background, it's Hunter. He's home. He's snorting, but he's healthy. So if you're wondering what that noise is, it's our dog. And crazy, right? So all right, so we're winding down here. So we're getting a little bit more people talking about it. Here's the latest chart on Nicole. Remember our Daily Brew brought to you by our good friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. People have been tagging me all over the internet. They've been stocking up in Florida, getting ready for their storm supplies. Somebody's listening to Christmas music. Yeah, look at that. Christian, listen to Christmas music while he's worried about a hurricane. My cell buzzes, Terry Murphy. No, I got the mute on tonight, I hope. All right, so I don't know where I'm going. All right, so we're going to go all weather. I usually do romper room and say hey to everybody, but I got to focus on the weather because that's what everybody's here for. All right, so the weird thing about this time change is this. This has really got me all messed up. I used to set my life around the 6Z, 12Zs, everything's an hour earlier now because of the dang daylight savings time. So your NHC now has their updates coming out at 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. So not 11 and 5. So we'll have a new update here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. What this big old yellow blob here means, that's the wind field right now. It's over 500 miles wide. Tropical storm force winds, 500 miles wide. It's almost 3 times the width of the Florida Peninsula. So center line doesn't mean exactly too much, except for whoever gets the eye wall. We do have a chance this thing could be a hurricane. There will be eye wall winds. There will be surge around that eye wall. Everybody else is dealing with tropical storm force winds on a large scale. We have hurricane watches in pink up now. Those will soon be warnings. We also are going to be having inland effects watches and warnings probably going to the west coast of Florida soon. This is going to push through the state. It's going to curve. We're going to have effects across the eastern seaboard. A couple things to note here is this. 1 p.m. Saturday, 1 p.m. Friday. It is going to haul booty northeast once this thing makes that turn. So it's not going to stick around. Most of the models are showing that it's going to be gone by the weekend for most everybody. Maybe some lingering stuff in the northeast, but it's going to shoot on out of here. We got cold air on the way. We got cool air this weekend for most everybody. There is a cold front coming. Hallelujah. And there we go. So hurricane warnings are for Bahamas. That's what the red means. Hurricane watches in pink. Those will soon be warnings. Official forecast supposed to be 75 miles an hour. Again, wide wind field. That is signs of a subtropical system. Subtropical systems, wider wind field. And that has been the theme all along. There is evidence, though, that this thing is going to become a little bit stronger, possibly becoming more tropical in nature, meaning a tighter wind field with convection. And here's your latest models. These 3 just came out. These are your 18Zs. UK did very, very well with the Ian, so I included the UK here. A couple things to note. Euro's around 991, 992. That's definitely hurricane range. Icon's been reading a little bit lower, 984 range. That's millibars. Lower the millibars, more winds. The 2 models that really has me posting a lot is this H-Wharf and H-Mon. The H-Mon is off and on, but the H-Wharf is right a lot as far as intensity goes. And it's continuing to show something in the 970 range, which means possibly higher in Cat 1. And yes, possibly Cat 2. Anything 970 range could technically fall into the Cat 2 range. So these are your extreme. This is not an official forecast. The NHC is saying 75 miles an hour. But I've seen the H-Wharf more times than not be correct with intensity. So we have warm waters over that Bahama area, 82, 83, 84 degrees. We have deep ocean heat content. It is expected to have light wind shear this basically tomorrow into Wednesday. And we're going to start seeing effects on Wednesday morning. This thing is probably going to make a landfall Wednesday night, overnight into Thursday. This thing's speeding up a little bit. So we could see a landfall Wednesday overnight into Thursday, wherever this thing sets up. All these tracks, no matter where you're looking at, all the tracks are doing the same thing. They're all going diagonal at this point. So, I know we got a lot of people down here where Hurricane Ian hit. Direct impacts, not likely. We are going to see squall lines on Thursday down there around, where Ian came ashore. I'll show you some good high resolution stuff showing that. But we're going to see squally weather, unfortunately, coming in around on the Gulf of Mexico. So even though you're not getting a direct hit in the Ian areas, we're still going to see some squally lines of storms possible, a couple inches of rain maybe. So, people dealing with blue tarps and roofs, we're going to have to pay attention to these squalls, and they're going to be around Thursday. But as far as that surge, very unlikely any type of large surge at all for anybody that far south. Remember, usually the southwest side of any tropical system has the least amount of impacts. The only thing that's tricky with this system is this. Because it's cutting across through the state, it might set up over here, and we almost have, these squall lines now coming back around. The good news is the Gulf of Mexico is cooling down. We will have an approaching front coming in and introducing some shear, keeping most of this stuff off to the northeast. So the water temperatures in the Gulf are not as warm as they are on the Atlantic side. So, watch for those little impacts. So we got some maps here I've added. The Hurricane Center has some great maps. The one bit of good news here that I've been watching, we talked a lot yesterday, a lot this morning. The rain maps are just not showing anything over double digits. We got officially the NHCs at 4 to 6 inches in the areas that are yellow, but we're not seeing what we saw with Ian. And Ian, at this point, when it was 2 days away, we were already seeing 20, 30 inches of rain on the forecast models from GFS, from the Euro, from blended models. We're not seeing that. So the little bit of good news is this is not a flooding rain like Ian was. Good news. That's a little bit of good news. And that map gets updated every update. Another map that gets updated every update is the flash flood potential. And we're only in yellow. I mean, that's slight, but we had extreme flooding with Ian. So rain is not so far anything to get too stressed out about. I do have some surge maps on here now with the NHC. They do have their colored line showing 3 to 5 feet of surge up from Georgia all the way down to North Palm Beach, 3 to 5 feet. And if this thing intensifies, the surge will intensify. So I guess the important thing to note here is that they're including the St. Johns River. We've been talking a lot about that. I'm going to get into that really soon. But the St. Johns River is going to be something to watch close with possible flooding again. Unfortunately, not so much with the rain. It's going to be the surge coming in from 2 to 3 days of persistent winds coming in off of the Atlantic. So again, this all changes if intensity goes up, but the important thing to note here is just how much of the Florida East Coast here is under surge, including parts of Georgia. As my nose itches. I don't know what that means. Other maps that I've added that are pretty cool. This is from Weather Nation. I love that they include their inland effects. Props to Weather Nation. I love this NHC. I've been lobbying to try to get them to show some sort of inland effects. By 10 o'clock, we're going to get a new updates. We're going to get a new track. We're going to get new watches and warnings. So we'll see if any of this stuff gets pushed farther west. 48 hours out, we get watches. 36 hours, we get warnings. So it's a real likelihood that we could see warnings issued for the Florida East Coast tonight. If not tonight, for sure 4 in the morning. So we got hurricane warnings coming. I can almost bet money on that. And I can almost bet money we're going to see watches extended to the Florida West Coast, possibly even some warnings given time. And of course, all this changes as our system moves up. I kind of did the same thing, unfortunately, with Ian. I didn't talk enough about the folks, past Florida. But this is not going to re-strengthen. So I guess the only good news for everybody outside of Florida is this is only going to, remain a tropical storm. It's going to be merging with a frontal boundary. And other than squall lines coming in and heavy rain, it'll be in here and gone fast. So it'll be like a normal tropical storm, fast moving, no surprises. It is blending with a frontal line. So not meaning to just, not talk a lot for the Carolinas and Georgia up into Virginia, but I'm going to show you exactly what you could be looking at. So a couple things, and we'll go right into Levi's site. I've added this link too. It's a really good link. It's called Threats and Impacts right here. This is put out by the National Weather Service. You click on this one, and you'll get the National Weather Service office of Melbourne. You click right here, Threats and Impacts. It should default to it. There it goes. Okay. And there you go. This is really a really cool product that they put out showing you wind threat now. So the wind threat has extended a little bit all the way now into the Florida West Coast. That likelihood now we're going to see tropical storm watches or warnings. But orange is 58 to 73 mile an hour possibilities. And notice it's above Cape Coral. 39 to 57, though, unfortunately, down into the Keys. Because, again, this thing is so wide. Lots of areas could possibly get tropical storm force winds. The heaviest winds, 74 to 110. These are gusts. There's your large area, a little bit north of Port Lucie down to Pompano Beach. This is where they expect landfall to be, thus the red. So that's on there. Storm surge threats on here. If you want to stay updated on that, we already have a yellow on the Florida West Coast. That's minimal. We do have flooding rain map, like I've showed before, and we have a tornado threat, which we'll always have with incoming tropical systems. Now, this will probably get extended to cover more area once our system plops out on the Gulf side and we start getting squall lines. So it's an important map. The other important map, number one question I always get is timing. So here it is right here. So NHC winds and timing of winds right here. This map right here goes. You can click on 5-day to get the color. But we're going to start seeing tropical storm force winds as early as Wednesday, 8 a.m., right along the southeast Florida. So there you go, timing. Wednesday, 8 p.m., we can start seeing tropical storm force winds across I-4 south. This is a great map. Just want to point that out. That number one question people ask all the time. All right, spaghetti models just came out. The double 000 suite, that's your new suite. These just came out. So we'll zoom on these. These are on tropical tidbits. High confidence, pretty tight spread for a system that's 2 days out. Very tight spread. That's indicating the high pressure is pretty much solid on all the models. Very good consistency. Again, don't get too focused yet on center line unless you are in the eye wall, because everybody else is going to get tropical storm force winds well outside of the circle. We got this hook coming. We got this turn coming. We got the likelihood of this low pressure popping onto the Gulf of Mexico for a brief spell, which could bring more impacts, Tampa Bay area northward as this thing turns and races on out of here. So models are up. Those are out. Let's look at all the models. Let's start out with the almighty Euro, and we'll zoom in on it. These are on tropicaltidbits.com. I do want to show the ensembles real quick, and then we'll do all the models, I promise. I like the ensembles. So we got Weather Nerds ensembles. They're right here. You can click on that. And it's pretty much showing you high confidence. Now, don't get wrapped up in all the different model lines. We use ensembles to try to see if we have any trends developing, if all the ensembles are starting to think differently from the main operational run. This is almost smack dab the same as it was last night. So that black mean line is the average of all the European ensembles, and you can see it exiting the coast just a little bit before that turn. The GFS high confidence, almost the same as it was last night. So, the track is pretty set. I mean, we're not going to see any surprises. The only thing I thought last night we could see any type of shift would have been some sort of a turn off the state, but high pressure is way too strong, and we are not going to see that. So that's solid for sure. All right, so let's jump into tropical tidbits. So we do have hurricane warnings up for the Bahamas. They're the first ones that are going to start feeling this. And let's just put on the wind map here. This is the important thing to show. All right, so we talked about the East Coast. People are already chiming in that we're getting a ton of... my cousin's online. So we're getting a lot of chit chat from people living on the Florida East Coast about winds already are impacting coastal areas. So this is your 10-meter winds on the Euro, and as the colors increase, it basically just means more intense winds. So this is actually now almost. But as we're going to see here, the system is 1,000 millibar now. The hurricane hunters are out there flying around. I have that link on the site too. The hurricane hunter's been out there today already. It's 1,000 millibar. We're going to see this thing slowly start to develop. This is tomorrow. Look at these winds picking up. All these winds coming in to the Florida East Coast and then piling up here parts of Georgia. Deepening system. 994, 995, 993, 992. Then it crosses the state, diagonal, plops out right there off of the Big Bend area. And this is Thursday night, Thursday afternoon. So now we're starting to see the wind shift. We're going to see more of a counterclockwise flow of possible storms coming in. We're still getting winds wrapping around now. They're shifting a little bit more from the south. So again, this is all the way to Thursday. So we got winds Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for a big chunk of the southeast here. Then the Euro shoots it off through Georgia, and it stops here. This is the 18Z. 12Z, almost exactly the same. 992 north of Tampa Bay there, and then it curves it on out of here. Now you can look at the moisture map. In fact, let's zoom in on the East Coast real quick. We got people asking. So we're going to go to the East Coast. So your Euro map, there's your rains. There's your heavy rains. It's starting to tighten up. It's definitely showing signs of it being tropical. Rains are already extending up north. This is Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Landfall again appears like it's going to be Wednesday night, overnight. Consistency is developing. It could be here before daylight on Thursday. Here's these rains. This is Thursday night. This is Friday morning. Rains are extending all the way up to Virginia. Now look up here. Here's that frontal line coming in. This is a big, bad cold front, bringing 30s and 40s and 50s down into Florida possibly. We got freezing temps in Georgia and Alabama. It's a big cold front, and it's going to merge with our system. And look at this rain out ahead of it. This is on Friday night. So those are not Nicole rains. Those are just kind of funnel rains. And there we go. Overnight Friday into Saturday. This is Saturday morning right here. So Saturday morning, North Carolina looks like it's going to be clear. Here's that lingering stuff. No more tropical mess. It could be almost like a nor'easter almost as far as the rains that you're going to experience. We still got a 989 pressure showing up in Maine. This is Saturday morning. So yeah, it's going to hug that eastern seaboard as that front comes through. Now look, this is Saturday night. Almost perfect. Sunday rolls around, ain't nothing out there. Maybe a little bit of lingering leftovers for the upper Gulf on Sunday, but for the most part, Saturday and Sunday are going to be awesome. All right, so let's go back. Let's look at the hurricane-specific models now. The H-Wharf, this is the worst-case model, but man, it's like I said, it's always been pretty darn good. It's initializing correctly at 1,000 millibars. You want to see them initialize exactly what the hurricane hunters are finding, because that means it's going to be better model data for that. Let me get something here real quick. Yeah. So here's our worst case scenario as far as a landfalling hurricane goes for Florida. Again, it's one to take serious. At least know that it's not a bad model. I watched Levi earlier, and he mentions, this dry air that we're seeing right now could be gone. We could develop a moisture field around our system, enabling it to develop some sort of a more of a convection around the core, which is what you need for a tightening system to develop. So, it's a possibility. You just got to keep in the back of your mind. It has not backed down from this thinking. And what this would do is it cuts through the state. It would maintain a little bit more energy on the West Coast, possibly bringing a little more stronger system for the West Coast up towards the Panhandle. So that's a scenario to think about. This thing cuts through the state, and if we're seeing any trends, we've seen a little more push, west through the state than we have anything else. Hurricane hunters did find the center actually earlier today kind of shifted a little bit to the west, maybe a little bit more. So we'll watch for little shifts on that. But if anything, that's the worst case scenario. 970 millibar. If you want to know what 970 millibar is, the old Saffir-Simpson scale suggests that it could have been a 2. They don't use pressure anymore. They only use wind speed for. So we go to another. They only use wind speed for Saffir-Simpson scale anymore. Again, most of your heavy rains are going to start Wednesday night, or Wednesday morning. Excuse me. Wednesday morning is when we're going to start seeing possible tropical storm force winds across Florida, south coast. So Wednesday, and again, that was on my timing map, which you can go back up here and see when you might start seeing tropical storm force winds. And the reason you might be saying, why am I going to see it Wednesday morning? Well, because the system is so dang wide. The center is going to be here, but we're going to see tropical storm force winds already reaching the coast on Wednesday morning, and that's because the storm is so wide. We're going to see squall lines, already coming into play Wednesday morning. And this is what it could look like, typical tropical storm. And here's these little squall lines we're going to have to watch down there where folks got hit with Ian. Again, it's not Ian by any means as far as surge or winds go, but we could still see tropical storm force wind gusts with these squall lines. I'm really curious what kind of effects we're going to have here in the bay. Surge maps aren't really showing anything yet, but if this thing is a little bit deeper and it does kind of park out here as it turns, we'll see some surge coming in. We saw surge with Ada. So that's something to watch. Especially areas here around the Big Bend, north of Tampa Bay, we could see more impacts along the water if this thing maintains some sort of a low pressure like 980 or whatnot, which a lot of them are showing. I mean, the Euro's showing it kind of maintaining the low pressure as it escapes by. Right here, 995. So, there you go. I mean, there's impact right there. This is Thursday p.m. Look at that. I mean, we got yellow showing up. So, if anything, it's not going to be a hurricane probably here, but it's going to bring squall lines to the panhandle, as any tropical system does. And you can see that clear as day right here. It's starting to, 995. Been talking about this exit in the Gulf, and it's going to bring some rains and squally weather as it goes northward. So definitely folks in the panhandle could get something out of this too as this thing comes on by. Canadian model's got a little bit more east bias, but it's not been a really good model as far as track goes, but it is very consistent. It is showing that big old rain band 988, fairly strong, Cat 1. Rain bands through the state of Florida. Icon about the same thing. Icon showing a 983. It's fairly strong. Icon's a pretty good model with intensity wise. There's your rain bands coming up through the state, through the panhandle. So I mean, there you go. And then it kind of gets merged with that frontal line. So very, very clear, very cut and dry what we're looking at here. There really shouldn't be any questions. We know rain's not going to be a huge issue. We know there's going to be tornadoes. I think the Storm Prediction Center has already got us down in dark green for Wednesday, which makes sense. That's when our storm's coming. Wherever it comes here, squall lines come in off of that Atlantic, and that's when we see the greatest chance for tornadoes. And that's already starting to show up 2 days. So it'll probably increase tomorrow for Wednesday. This is a Wednesday outlook, because tomorrow's Tuesday. I have to remind myself. Sometimes I forget what day it is. There's the Icon. Let's see, what other good models can we look at? We did the Herc. We did an H-Wharf, H-Mon. UK is about the same. GFS hasn't done too bad with this system, believe it or not. There's a good look at the GFS, 990, 991, 990 off of Tampa Bay. Then there's that turn, 990 still. So it maintains itself. That's the trend we're seeing, is this thing is not losing much punch as it comes through the state, indicating that it's trying to stay developing a little bit. Again, light shear. So, surprise Gulf reentry is going to bring, some nasty weather to the panhandle. It's not likelihood to be anything stronger than a tropical storm. 991 technically could be a hurricane. But again, the only thing stronger showing up than a Category 1 hurricane is the H-Wharf and the H-Mon, and that is the initial landfall for South Florida. And it's definitely a possibility. The environmental conditions, are not all that bad as far as, what we're looking at. Here's intensity models on Tropical Tidbits. Notice there's only one or two showing Cat 1. Ironically, it's showing a little reemergence here. Some of that's off the coast, actually, of the East Coast. So again, intensity models aren't really showing much. So that's really good news. So I mean, we're pretty much locked in here. What we got coming. No huge changes in the models. We know it's probably going to tighten up into more of a tropical storm. Here it is now. This is a water vapor loop. We're starting to see a little bit more signs that it could be, developing a little better here. Actually, that's not even Is this current? Can't even tell if it's current or not. I don't know if it's current. Let's see here. Yeah, it's current. It's not really a good one though. Let's go to Weather Nerds. Might see a better shot here. It's actually a little farther north than what that was showing. I don't know if that's an old shot or not. But anyway, here you go. Let's take a look at it this way. I see a little better shot. All right, this might be a little better. This should be right here. There you go. That's a good shot. Okay, so here's your center, actually, developing right here. All this other stuff, it's got dry air still coming in, but there's your center and some of this moisture. It's going to start wrapping around there. True sign of a subtropical system is it's void of a lot of convection around that center, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. I mean, it's got great circulation on lower levels. You can see it on the wind maps, but it really doesn't have that circulation yet with convection around the center, and it's close. Look at that. It's actually going to dip south a little bit before it goes north. It's really, really weird. We got this strong high pressure, going to push it almost south a little bit before it turns back northwest. And you can see that here. Kind of get an idea looking at this map where it's at. So it's pretty darn close. Look, it's not that far away. It's sitting right there. Not far away at all. But as far as lower level winds and stuff, it's got really good satellite presentation as far as the center. Whoa, man, whoa, geez, I do that every time. We just took off with Elon. There it is, tight circular rotation. So once that convection can start wrapping around here, then it'll start to intensify. So it's got the circulation. This is lower level. 700 is not bad either. There's 700, 850 smack dab right there, and it even has a little 500 showing up. So it's starting to get vertically stacked, what tropical systems need if they're going to intensify. And definitely not getting any sort of wind shear or anything right now bothering it too bad. Shear tendency, shear maps. Here's your shear map right now, and you can see a light pocket of shear. The green and the yellows is light shear. Another good map to look at is this little guy. It's in a pocket here of light wind shear. Blues and greens are light, and a couple other maps. Like I said before, the ocean heat potential. I always show this one, but it's really important. This is still pretty warm waters below the surface, and this is going to help our system intensify. Because it's fuel. Hot water is fuel. So those ocean heat content. Now see the shelf waters here in the Gulf, a lot cooler, and that'll likely just maintain our system as it crosses through the state. But this area right here definitely is warm, and you can even see that here. Your water anomaly maps. This is all cool down. Believe it or not, from Ian. This right here. This water was cooled down from Ian, and the Gulf itself is a little bit cooler. So we're hotter on the east side, and we're colder on the west side. So that's that. So things I'm watching, I guess, really is sneaky surprise development. The big story first is going to be the Florida's East Coast here, and this is a big story. I think I'm going over there to Volusia County to meet some folks tomorrow. But here's tomorrow, 10 p.m. So we have a high tide tomorrow around 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is our new moon, our full moon. I always say new moon. It's our full moon tomorrow night. And there you go. And this is why the St. Johns River is going to be a big question mark, because these winds are just coming down for days. This is tomorrow. Unfortunately, all these areas that got hit with Ian are going to be facing with that. So this is before the storm. And as we get to Wednesday, even though our system on the Euro is showing up down here, look at these winds, man. I mean, just constant winds coming in off of that Atlantic. Strong winds. I mean, these are 50, 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts, 62, 64, 65. So there's our center. Our big winds are way to the north. So that's the storyline immediately. And then our system plops over here to the other coast. And you can kind of see this wind flow down into Cape Coral and stuff. This isn't going to bring much surge. It's just going to bring any developing squall lines, any system, that our storms on Thursday. We're just going to have to watch for any squalls coming in off of the Gulf, and they could be nasty. We're going to have daytime heating on Thursday. It's still hot. We got heat up in the moisture in the upper level atmosphere. So, we're going to see, Mother Nature doesn't care. It's November 7th. It feels more like summer, right? I mean, it's 74 degrees still right now here at home. So, and here's the wind flow on Thursday. And then as our system gets on out of here, this is where we might start to see the surprise squall lines coming in off of the Atlantic for Georgia northward. So let's start talking about the Carolinas. Here's Thursday. I don't know. Let's say like Thursday afternoon. So here's 7 o'clock on Thursday. Our center could be nearing the Panhandle. We're going to start to see these storms starting to develop a little bit more as our flow comes in out of the southeast here. We got the Gulf Stream. That always helps fuel storms. So now our energy is coming up. And that's when we start to see the storms develop more Thursday for Georgia and the Carolinas. As we get into overnight Thursday into Friday, there's clear lines here coming in out ahead of our system. There's our low. So Thursday night into Friday morning, we're going to start to see these enter North Carolina, the Outer Banks, up into Virginia. These won't be any worse than, a bad thunderstorm that, we're all used to. The big winds could be this frontal line. This could be the bigger story for folks in the eastern seaboard. That's our actual frontal line. And we're going to have a pretty healthy looking squall line setting up Friday night, 8 p.m. So this is a squall line from New York all the way down to Charlotte. This is no longer, on the Euro, no longer organized. There's our squall line. And anytime you get a big dip in the jet stream, you get bad storms sometimes out ahead of it. So there you go. That's the potential Friday night. And again, by Saturday, 3 p.m., it's gone. Cool weather is on the way. Let's take a look at that real quick. Let's take a look at the blend of models for temperatures. And that's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see this page. So we'll go to precipitation, temperature. All right, let's just look at the big picture here first. Go to lows. So this is kind of neat. Everybody's been sick and tired of the heat. So here's Saturday morning. We're going to be 40s and 50s along the upper Gulf Coast, starting to get down in the Panhandle. But let's look at Sunday. Let's just pull up Sunday. We'll pull up Sunday. Here's Sunday. What commercial was that from? All right, so here's Sunday morning. Sunday morning, we can have 30s down in the Panhandle. We're going to have 40s all the way into Interstate 4. Like Orlando might be in the 40s. Sunday morning, big cold front coming down. 30s and 40s across Carolinas. Probably teens up in the mountains around the Smokies. So could be some lingering. I'm wondering too. You know what? There could be some lingering moisture. Let's take a look. There, maybe we might get a little bit of maybe snow showers. Oh yeah, there's a couple little dots showing up. So could be maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. There's going to be a little moisture left behind Saturday night into Sunday morning as our cold weather comes in. Probably not. I was thinking we might see a snowflake, but we're not. So anyway, what's happening? I heard Jim Cantori is over in the Florida East Coast. I don't know. What's up, Shelly? How's everybody behaving? School buses can't be on the road. Exactly right. Or fire trucks. So that's why they, evacuations are a big deal. So I learned a big reason that they evacuate is if you have to call 911, basically, they can't come to you, and they're worried about you. So, or if we're in an evacuation zone, the chances of a power outage are great. And if you need oxygen or you need anything, you won't be able to get it. So evacuations you take serious if you are in an evacuation zone. It's definitely to keep everybody safe, and I believe for most people, if you're in an evacuation zone, it probably is a good thing to get out if that's what you want. But I don't know if we'll have any evacuations. I don't know what's going on with that area over there as far as low-lying areas. We do have my surge map here. It's a little different than what the NHC is showing. This is the Sierra surge map. You can zoom in a little bit more, and this is a little bit more based on the current NHC track. But it's a good tool. It's on my site. You can really get some more estimated surge values for different areas. And there's a common misperception, wave heights are going to be crazy high out there in the Atlantic, but that's not surge. So it's not like 40-foot waves are going to be, overtaking the beach, but it does push water. And, here's some of the surge showing up for St. Augustine. Areas in St. Augustine could have water come in because of this push. So this is a good site. It shows you, St. Mary's, different areas. We're going to have a lot of water being pushed up here north of Florida, along the Florida coastline, and it has nowhere to go. So this is a realistic surge map that, even shows the Bahamas here, what we could be seeing on the Bahamas side, Grand Bahama Island there. So it's a good tool. I have it on the site. It's right here, estimated surge map, right there, and showing you the some of these estimated heights here on the Euro. It's quite incredible, actually. If you look at these wave height predictions, this is incredible, actually. So these are your maximum wave heights through Friday. And, 40, 50 feet? Maximum 50 feet? So there ain't going to be no cruising up and down the East Coast, that's for sure. So yeah, that's a lot of water being pushed into that Florida East Coast. I'm telling you, man, it's just nobody knows what's going to happen. I know Kevin Guthrie was on the news today and apparently mentioned there's going to be a lot of structures that actually end up in the Atlantic. The beaches got a beating during Ian. And this is I'm not even going to share this online because it scares the heck. People think there's going to be 50 foot of surge, but these are wave height maps. But you got wind pushing, you got high tide coming. It's just tremendous, 50 foot. So we'll leave that little secret between us. I don't think I should share that one. It would definitely be a hype post, I think, because. Anyway, so we got a new NHC forecast coming out in an hour. They'll be out by probably usually 9:45 is when it comes out. So let's put a satellite picture on, then we'll call it a day. Why is this not updating, though? I got to figure out what the heck happened here. Sometimes these NHC maps don't update right away. I don't know what's going on here. Well, that's why. It's a different link. They changed the damn link on me. All right, well, there you go. There you can see it all setting up right there. Found out something new. Some poor weather fan's been staring at my website for the day and probably saying, that storm ain't doing nothing. It's just sitting there doing the same damn thing it did earlier. Well, anyway, now it makes sense because I'm like, that dry air isn't there. Now I got to find it amongst my 100 tabs here. Let me close all my tabs out. So we went a whole year not crashing Chrome. It's my goal. Here it is. There we go. See, the dry air is slowly disappearing. And a couple things here you can look at on Levi's site. Really cool stuff. So you always look at the humidity and you look at the upper level winds or upper level humidity values, 300, 700 range. when we look at our system trying to develop on the Euro, the GFS, this is what we're looking at now. We do have some dry air. We saw that on the infrared. So there's a little bit of dry air intrusion. But what happens is all this moisture that's off to the east helps wrap around, and it kind of chokes off that dry air. And we get a little bit of window here of possible conditions which would allow intensification. So all that dry air is not showing now on approach. And this is when we might see some sneaky last minute development that we got to worry about. And this would be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. We could see this dry air not be a factor anymore. The H-Wharf is really showing that happening. It is doing a good job right now. This is currently with the H-Wharf showing quite a bit of dry air, around our system. Not a very good environment currently going into tomorrow morning, but it does wrap enough moisture around to create its own little moisture field and fight off that dry air. That's why, we got to watch this thing to be sneaky here as it makes that final approach. Shear appears to not be a factor, and the waters are hot, and we got moisture. So that's what's happening on this last minute strengthening. Even the Euro. Remember this day or so ago we were showing the Euro, and it was like 1,007 millibar. Remember that? Now it's down to 991. So it's slowly coming down there. And if we start getting into the 980 range, then it's just, Cat 1 with some bigger winds. And we get down to the 970 range, we could be looking at a Cat 2. So anyway, yeah, I am not the airport. There will be likelihood airlines will close. They don't fly the planes in tropical storms. So I would think Orlando, if you had any flights on Thursday, definitely, maybe even late Wednesday, because this thing's so big. So realistically, Wednesday, Thursday, Tampa 2, definitely South Florida. I mean, there are going to be airport cancellations, 100%. It could all start Wednesday. It all depends on how intense these winds are leading up. So because of this wind field, Wednesday on, we could see a lot of airport closures as this thing passes by. What's up, Nikki? How you doing? Mike, Palm, rainfall, I've shared that. We're only looking at, nothing, no double digits on rainfall are showing. Weather on Friday looks great, Bethany. Thank you, Reggie King. Kimberly, thanks. I had a lot of people download the app. I really appreciate it. Island Rob, what's cooking? So, like I said, good news is that we're not seeing that huge rainfall totals that we saw with Ian. That's the one thing that's showing up very consistent. And we are seeing increasingly chances that we're going to see more inland effects with squally, windy, tropical. Irma came up through the state as a Cat 1, and we had a lot of damage. This thing's a 980, 970 cutting across the Everglades. Remember the Everglades in Lake Okeechobee, right? None of these models are showing any fast weakening. If anything, it's trying to strengthen as it weakens. So we're not seeing much strength. We're not seeing much weakening at all. And if you, let's say the H-Wharf was correct, 976, it plops out on the other side at 982. Not a lot of weakening at all. The Euro crosses over at 991, and it plops on the other side at 992. 994 now. It's like a two millibar pressure drop. Icon plops on, 983. Plops out on, well, it doesn't go in the Gulf, but it's still 991 up by Big Bend. So we're not seeing a huge difference. So that indicates we're still going to see squally, stormy weather inland, which, power outages, all that fun stuff. But this is no Ian as far as winds go. Just that's a huge thing. lot of chit chat going on for a tropical storm, hurricane, for sure. But I stress a lot, there's no such thing as it's just a Cat 1 or it's just a tropical storm. Every storm is unique. Every storm is different. This one's going to have, unfortunately, serious effects on beach erosion for Florida up into South Georgia. It's going to have some St. Johns River issues. I have a feeling with this water pushing in for 3 solid days. I think with daytime heating and this approaching front coming in, I think we're going to see some stormy weather potential north of our system as it gets on out of here. A typical nor'easter style setup with squally weather. So yeah, and I think we're going to see panhandle effects kind of surprise some folks later Thursday as this thing escapes Florida. So yeah, there's that. That's right, Rebecca. Ian reduced down to tropical storm, but we still had a lot of damages in Orlando, and especially off of the East Coast. So anyway, Melissa, I don't know what they are. Stay safe from. Oh, hey, here's Ms. Alexis. She's always popping in. Appreciate that. Hey, bride to be. James. Wait a minute. Well, it is 2022. But hey, congratulations. Friday should be good. Well, no, it depends on where you're at. I was thinking South Florida. I thought I read South Florida, but Saturday wedding's pretty good. Why is nothing being said where landfall will occur? Well, that is because I've showed spaghetti models a bazillion times, and I've shown every model a bazillion times. That's sarcasm. But there you go. There's the latest 00Z. We'll leave that up there. How about that? We'll zoom big time on it. Numbers are timestamps. 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now, 72 hours from now. Landfall could be as early as Wednesday night. We should possibly get, I don't know if we'll get warnings at 10 or not. We're going to have hurricane warnings for sure. And we're going to get tropical storm watches on the Florida West Coast. And we'll probably get tropical storm watches for the Big Bend area and parts of the Panhandle, almost guaranteed. Eventually, we'll probably get tropical storm watches, but it's too far away yet for the East Coast. They don't issue them out past 48 hours. So I will be live tomorrow. I'll be live in the morning. I am storm documenting. I got all my setup here. Great news on the truck. I guess it was on the news tonight, right? I got a new engine. I got a used engine, but the guy said it was amazing. I have to tell you the story about the truck. I don't know what happened to it. I'm going to miss Taco Tuesday, Trent. I know, man. But I'll find a place to hang out over there for sure. So, but listen, I usually take off a day before. Realistically by tomorrow, we're going to know where it's going. Tomorrow's only 24 hours away. I'll still be updating. I got my mobile set up here. We just won't do a daily live on Wednesday morning. That's the only thing we're not going to do. But like I said, Wednesday morning, it's already going to be possibly sitting right offshore, that close. So yeah, tune in. I'll be filming. I'll be over there tomorrow night and Wednesday, wherever this thing decides to make landfall. I'll be driving south, not far, somewhere obviously in these lines. If it doesn't indeed doing what the HWAR says, it'll be more important to go to the eye wall because it'll be a real hurricane. If it stays broad and subtropical, then the bigger winds are going to stay way to the north. And it'll be kind of tough to figure out where the heck it's going. But I think looking at those humidity maps and the moisture wrapping together and the light shear environment that we're seeing in these warmer waters, I really believe we're going to see this thing a little bit stronger than what they're predicting right now. So no models are showing Cat 3 right now. No models are showing that. So you would only go against one or two models, but when you have no models showing a Cat 3, pretty high confidence, man. We live and die by the models, and I love the H-Wharf. So cool beans. All right. Well, hey, listen. Let's say hey to a few more people. It's really hard too because in between the comments are the questions, and I pretty much covered everything. I'll be live at 9:19 Eastern. Hunter's doing better, by the way. Thank you very much for asking. Richie, I didn't order my damn hat. Oh, can I get it today? Oh, I can't. Well, yeah, I might. Let's take a lookie. God, I didn't think about that. I should have got my damn hat. I did get a new headset today for Storm, for my audio. The audio went out during Phil and I's trip here. I mean, so what would I call it? Was it redneck? No, I don't. No. Oh, there's my hat. Oh, it's gonna be here Wednesday. Damn it. What day am I leaving? Tuesday. I did get these from my truck. Redneck side plates. Then the truck blew up. Oh man, it's gonna be here Wednesday. Crap. There's my hat. Somewhere down there in Placida. Is that the name of Placida? I lost my hat. Eric, thank you very much. Yep, thanks to Miss Shelley. She's always there for us. Devin, have a beer for you. Cheers. I love it. I thought about that, Mikey. I could pick an address over there. No, mail it to Shelley's house. I can see Shelley open it up. What the heck is this? All right. Well, listen. I'll be wearing pants. No, I always wear pants, Michael. I got my flip flop. Jim Cantori is in Melbourne. Is that true? Is there anybody who can verify that? Richie Rich will bring it to me. Robert, the Winfield's huge. The Winfield right now, if you really want to know, go to NHC right here. Holy cow, it's huge. And click on Public Advisory. Public Advisory tells you on every update, which I love, how big everything is. So here it is right here. So winds, tropical storm force winds extend 310 miles from the center. And the pressure's down to 998. That's interesting to note. It is dropping a little bit. I suspect this thing's going to end up being in the 970 range. I'm telling you right now. These maps are showing it closing off at the last second. So if I was anybody in the spaghetti model territory, I would definitely be thinking of a stronger Cat 1, borderline 2. Just based on what I'm seeing. So, but anyway, see, it doesn't tell you both directions. I wish they would just do an overall circumference. So I don't know if it's skewed one direction or not. But anyway, 310 miles from center. Pressure down, 998. And another thing too, if you're new to hurricanes and stuff, this is the best piece of advice right here. The key messages they put out every 6 hours. The key messages, they tell you everything, okay? Everything you need to know. From storm surge, inland flooding, they still say heavy rainfall, but we're not seeing, it does say flash flooding along the river rises on portions of St. John's River. But we're not seeing Ian-style flooding, so that's good. My AM update tomorrow is always 9:19 Eastern for the last 18 years. That is my dog snoring. He had an pneumonia. So, yeah. Figured out the animal hospitals, they're not shy when it comes to estimates. they basically, do I have it right here? They basically, it's like you have a choice. Then you sound like an asshole if you don't, because I'm just gonna let him die. But oh my God, let's see. I mean, radiograph 3 views, $425. Catheter, $104. Oxygen, $158. Oxygen therapy, $701. It's like oxygen therapy, $371. I mean, God Almighty. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, all the medicine, $49, $46, $85, $49. I mean, all this because the dog had a dang ammonia. I don't care. I mean, I guess I gotta get insurance. But it was good. We went to Blue Pearl. I would highly recommend them. Honestly, I don't know how much this stuff's supposed to cost, but they were great. I had 3 different doctors. They called every few hours. I mean, they were completely awesome. The best care. They have one in Almerton, so that was good. Had his own nurse. I mean, so I told them all to Google Hurricane Hunter, and they were like, "Oh my God, he's famous!" But I didn't get a discount. Oh, anyway, all right. Well, listen. So we'll be live in the morning. All important 9:19 tomorrow morning. We'll see what the overnight models bring, and then I'm probably heading over to the East Coast. But I'll be updating frequently as always. So no worries. We just won't be live. So there you go. All right. Have a great night, everybody. We had a lot of people tonight. Really appreciate it. You know, the post last night wasn't a goodbye. It was a thanks. But hey, everybody's cool with Blue Pearl. That's great. So yeah, I mean, come on, you can't, you can't let the little guy. And he was struggling, man. It hurt my feelings. God, it was so sad. But he definitely had ammonia. His one lung was completely full of fluid. So he's better now. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow in the morning. All right, we're going to post a 10 o'clock update here in an hour. There'll be a brand new track. We might get warnings for the east coast of Florida. Maybe a little early. I don't know if they'll do it or not yet. They probably will do it, I would think. We're going to see watches and move closer to the West Coast for sure. And we might see that surge value pop a little higher. I'm a little curious. If they think the intensity is going to come up, surge is going to increase a little bit more too. So, but there's not a lot of unknowns right now with this system. So there you go. All right, we'll see you all in the morning. Bye.